I have started a new religion, and religion is about reconnecting with God. That is what the word actually means, which is unlike what the dictionary says. The dictionary takes its etymology back to Cicero or Cicero, but there are older lineages for that word, and it actually means to reconnect with God. And that is what this new religion is going to do. And it is going to do it in a better way than any of the existing religions have been able to, because it actually writes a core fallacy which is baked into all of the existing religions, whether they are theistic or non-theistic, like Christianity or Buddhism, or even like real down-to-earth spiritual practices like shamanism, and all of it lacks this new perspective which the new religion brings with it, which has to do with the object of worship, which is God. And Christianity sort of has it right, but it doesn't actually realize why it has it right, because all the existing religions, they are worshipping the wrong God, which is. I'm not saying that, here's a new God and this is a false God or anything. The God that all the reasonable, the advanced religions actually worship, which is the creator of this universe and of our reality, or not reality actually, but this creation is not the God we're supposed to worship. He is what has been said about him, but worshipping him is the wrong focus. We are supposed to worship his successor. And that is why, of course, Christianity has it right, because they worship God's Son. And they say that anyone who wants to come to God, or actually what they mean is want to come to Godhead, has to go through me. But Christians misunderstand, because they think they are going through Jesus to his Father, and that is not the point. Jesus is becoming the Godhead. He is the successor. He is not... Well, he is, of course, returning to his Father, but only inasmuch as he is returning to the lineage of his father and his grandfather, and, there is a succession of gods and creations. And which also means that the turtle cosmology is also correct. It has understood this. If you haven't heard about the turtle cosmology, it is I don't remember it quite. I don't know if I remember it quite correctly, but there was someone asked a little old lady who had studied a lot of religion and read a lot of deep, profound books, and what is the answer to this universe, and how does it all work? And she answered, "It's turtles." And of course the person asking didn't understand that answer, and asked her to say more, to elaborate. And she just said, "It's turtles, it's all turtles." And that is also, of course, they have understood it in I don't remember which other religion also has this, where there are turtles upon turtles upon turtles upon turtles. This is the same principle. You have God after God after God after God after God, and each creation succeeds, replaces the old one in a very mathematical, algorithmical process, which I have explained. You can read that explanation. I'll give it a short version of it here, but you can read it in a text which is called Cosmology and Cosmogony, and you can find that video here on this channel, where I read the text in a little over an hour, I think. And you can also read the text where I first published it in 2015, I think, at a website called BoyWiki. And the explanation is that God, obviously, he creates the universe, he creates the world and everything, or the world comes after the universe, because first there is the act of creation, and that is merely initiating a process which starts from one point. And you could say this also validates the theory of the Big Bang, and it starts in a point, and it unfolds from there. And it's not chaos, and it's not like it could go anywhere, and anything could happen, or there is a system. It is a program which is rolled out with a structure. It also already has a structure. It has a meta structure in the program. But all the details, those aren't decided. So it can go here and there, but we know that it will end up in a place which has these parameters, and then it will end up after that in a place that has those parameters, which combines the premises from earlier stages and so on. So it's very structured, but it can't be foretold in detail. And that structure comes from that inception point, which is, just a singular point. And it's just like a seed. And it contains a lot of information, but it contains it in the form of fractal. It's a fractal information field, which is, it has been compressed to the point of being as small as it can possibly be. So something that was immensely complex was compressed into a very neat and very small information package, and then it was initiated, instigated, and it's exploded from that point on, and it gave us the creation which we are currently in, which is as complex and multifaceted and many times utterly beautiful, and sometimes incredibly ugly, but this creation which we are currently in. And we have gone through a very systematic process getting to the high point. this creation, which is where we are now. We are at the high point, which can also be termed the midpoint, because we are now halfway through the creation process. We are now going to start on the second half, which is going to be rewinding and recompressing this fractal informational seed, which started out and became the Big Bang, which became the creation. And we are going to repackage it into a new fractal crystal. But we are not, but as I said, it's going to be a new fractal crystal. It's not going to be the same one, because there have been some new additions being made to this information field that will have to be a part of the next fractal or crystal field. Well, it's a fractal crystal and it's a seed, so it's a fractal crystal seed field, all of those things. If you have no idea what fractal compression is about, you might want to, look into that, and things will become clearer when you grasp that, if you don't already or intuitively grasp that. So there is this new dimension which has come into our universe, which wasn't there in the previous iteration of creations, stemming from the God which was initiated by the father of our current God, God the Father, the one whom Christian prays to in the Lord's Prayer. He had a father, and he had a father before that, and with every iteration of these creation processes and these universes or creations coming after another, one additional dimension is added to the creations, and it is not a dimension of time or space. It is a dimension of ontology, of being. So something new is arriving into this creation, which was not present in the previous. You could say, or you could even say, incarnations of creation, but as far as incarnation is the same as getting into the material, becoming materializing. But of course, those are not exactly the same. But nevertheless, you could say that even in the previous iteration of creation, there were elements that could point towards what has now become this new dimension in our universe. We don't know quite yet what it is, but we are going to find out, and we are going to make it part of the already established series of dimensional, what should I say, ontological dimensions, yes, that we already have. And I can't even name those, because we have to sort things out. We have to organize our the information and the knowledge and understanding that we have apprehended from, living through our lives and living through our epochs and our lineages, and phylogeny, which is, the succession of species, one after the other, building upon the previous species, starting with, one-celled organisms, and through amoebas, and then life in the oceans, and getting onto amphibians, yeah, and then reptiles, and then birds, and then rodents, and not rodents because they are mammals, and up to hominids, and the apex of creation, which is human beings, Homo sapiens. And we are going to organize and structure and study all of this information which we now have collated, or are going to collate, and organize and see in larger perspectives, and we are going to make a huge library, or an archive of information, which is the greatest endeavor which has ever been done in humanity's history, or within this creation at all. And we are going to then start compressing that information. And part of that process is going to do away with the material realm. Yes, we are going to spiritualize everything that is now solid, in a way that, it will preserve the solidity, sort of, but it will make the transition between solid and non-solid, ethereal, spiritual. It will make that disappear, become opaque, or very gradual. And what is going to happen is that we are going to get the kinks out of the system. We are going to make the kinks into new structures, really novel structures that have never been before. Those things that are considered the flaws of the material, of the flesh, you could say, those are going to be understood in new with new frames of reference. They are going to be reframed, and we are going to make them the basis for the new dimension, which is the core product of this creation, because that is what each creation produces: new information, a new bit of information, or a new dimension. And we are going to rehash all the existing information that came from the previous crystal of information structure when this all started, and we are going to integrate this new piece of realization into that old matrix. And we can't just add it as a new layer. the entire previous structure, hierarchy or metastructure of information has to be rehashed to integrate this new information. And that new information, that kink, that the sin of the flesh, that is the core of the term evil. It is that which we haven't been able to get a grasp on. So we are going to conquer evil, but not as in defeating or vanquishing. We are going to integrate it. We are going to integrate evil into our new world, into creation. Obviously, we are not going to become evil. We are going to transform evil into something that is no longer considered as what we now consider evil. It is going to be, well, you could say that sin, the word sin, if you look at the Spanish word sin, it means without. Doesn't mean something that is wrong. It denotes something that is lacking, and that is a really good explanation for sin. Even in English, you could say there is something that is lacking, and what is lacking is that here is something that is out of place, and it's wrecking our system. It's wreaking havoc with our system. It's not because it is bad necessarily. Actually, when we get to the end of this process, we are going to find out that it isn't because it is bad. It is because it is out of place. It isn't in its right place. And that could be simply because it has been put in a place where it has been put in here, in this system, where it's supposed to be there. Or it could be that there is no place for it in our current system, and we have to reorganize our system to make a proper place for it. And reframe it and see it in a neutral objective way, as just another part of the whole, and it doesn't cause trouble, or the way we interact with it doesn't cause problems. So that is what we are doing here with this new religion. This new religion has to do with this process of now starting to recoil or rewind or repackage, start making this new information crystal, which is going to become a new fractal crystal seed for the next iteration of creation, which is going to be started by the next God. The next God whom we will now all start to worship or nurture. Worship should not be about prostrating before or putting up on a pedestal and I'm so lowly and you're so high and I can't look at you, and making this chasm between us and God. Rather, we should We should try and understand, just as Jesus said. We should try to get to know him as best we can, and we should try to emulate him. So, and when we worship this God, the Son, this emerging God, this God incoming, you should say, because he is not yet God. He will become God when this process finishes, because then there will be only him. Yes, that is the end stage of this creation process, which I have explained. At the end, there will be the information crystal, fractally compressed, of all information that we have received from the past creations, universes, and then we have incorporated into it the new realizations we based on what we learned when we reframed all the evil things in our world, which we learned or are going to learn comes down to one thing and one thing only. And in addition to this fractal seed, there is going to be God, because this seed is God's thought. Yes, God is one, and this crystal is in his mind, is his thought, and he is going to think it into a new creation. But this also brings into this whole structure the notion that there is the information, and it is the purveyor of it, or the holder of it, which is a person, actual person, an actual being, a living being. It's not just going to be information and cold space and non-living universe, because if you do that, like so many religions, like Buddhism and others do, you take the life out of it, and that takes all the fun out of it, because you can't have fun without life. In fact, in many ways, you could say that fun is a synonym for life. Oh, here there was a lot of life, and you could say here there's people are having a lot of fun. You don't go to a battleground where people are killing each other and you say, oh, here's a lot of life. No, you would rather say here's a lot of death, which in many ways is the opposite of life. But not really. I won't get into that in this video though, because it would get too long, and I feel I'm on a roll here, and I want to be able to contain it and present the essentials about this new religion. And there's one element that I haven't mentioned so far, and that is the thing about this new element, this new dimension, which we are creating or immanentizing, or bringing as a novelty into reality, which you could say reality encompasses more than just this creation. Reality is everything that has gone before it and everything that is coming. This new dimension, it has a number. Just as our universe has a number. Because we have a series of universes. We have a series of dimensions that are added along, one for each universe. And the number of the universe is the same as the number or the ordinal number of the new dimension. This is, perhaps the 124th dimension that we are bringing in. So this, which would mean that this is the 124th universe or creation. I have no idea what that number is. It could be. You could add a tremendous number of zeros after. It could be 10 to the 27th or something like that. And it could be also lower. I don't understand that, and I don't have any insight into that. But what I understand is that we have a progression, a numerical progression. And the next, you could look at it as a matrix, a line of or a database, or a what you have where you have rows and columns, and I never learned to use those it will come to me. But you will have like dimension 1 and dimension 2, and you have description for them, and the last line will be the number, our universe and its dimension, and we won't have any correspondences for this dimension, just like in Kabbalah and with the numbers there. You have each number has a lot of correspondences which says something about the essence of that number, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and each number has ontological meanings associated with it, and we are going to fill out the line of correspondences for the new dimension and for the new number, which is the number of our current universe. Obviously, you will have grasped by now, if you are able to absorb and integrate what I am narrating here, that this version of religion is the authoritative version of religion. It leaves all the rest of them not in the dust to be trodden upon, but they are on a lower level, on a rudimentary level, and they will be respected, but they will have to, they will have to integrate themselves into the new higher religion. this this proves that this is the right religion. And people coming to religion for the first time, they will see that immediately, and they will go with this religion, and they will not have anything in their luggage, so to speak, in the form of past ideas and notions connected to any other religion that other people might have in their luggage, in their baggage. But another way to understand why this new religion is quite superior is to ask yourself, what should an authentic, real, holistic, totally holistic religion have in it? And I would say it would have to explain a few connections. A true and a perfect religion would have to explain the connections between man. It would have to explain what man is. It would have to have, a model to, this is what man is, and this is how he interacts with the world around him. But not more than that. It would have to explain man in relation to the universe, for one thing. It would have to explain man and the universe in relation to the numbers, because numbers is an essential and very separate part of reality. But if we are going to understand reality, and that is also what we are doing here, we have to understand how they relate to each other. And, how does cosmos relate to numbers, natural numbers, not decimals and fractals, or fractions, but whole numbers. And how does man relate to whole numbers? And how do all of these three elements relate to God, to the source of life and consciousness and intelligence? These things have to be understood really well, how they connect to each other in a structured, in a mathematical way, in a geometrical way. So we have to understand also how does geometry fit into this structure and this framework. And obviously it's very easy to understand, or it's comparatively easier to understand, how does geometry relate to numbers. But how does it relate to all the other things? Nature also, you could say. So these things have to be related to each other, and the right, the authentic, the perfect religion will have to explain all of these things. And I would like to explain one of them. How does a man relate to numbers, at least from one perspective, which has been realized, but not by most people, but by a lot of people. And that has to do with number theory, and it has to do with mathematics, and it has to do with geometry, and it has to do with wisdom, and it has to do with matter or the material, and it has to do with the numbers 3 and 4 and 5. And when I mention those, perhaps quite a few people will think of one ancient Greek man, a mathematician called Pythagoras. Pythagoras' theorem, which says that the side of in a triangle, in a right-angled triangle, which means that one of the angles is 90 degrees. What the two others are, it can vary. But where you have a right-angled triangle, the side of one of the sides connecting to the right angle, which that side is called a hypotenuse. No, it's called a cathete. I hope I'm not butchering these words because I'm just translating from what I know their names in Norwegian. Catheter, maybe. And that the length of that squared plus the length of the opposite, or not the opposite, but the other the adjacent catheter squared becomes the length of the hypotenuse squared, because that is the third side of this right-angled triangle. And I think the only way to fit whole numbers, natural numbers, into that scheme is with the numbers 3, 4, and 5. And so if you have one side of the catheter is 3, that will mean that 3 squared is 9, and the adjacent catheter, the length of that is 4. 4 squared is 16. You have 9 plus 16, that is 25. Then you know the length of the catheter, of the hypotenuse, which is this askew side. I'm at a loss for the correct word. And of course, that means that the length of that is 5, because 5 squared is 25. So 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared, or 9 plus 16 equals 25. Okay. So what does that have to do with anything? Well, I'm not going to explain this fully, but I'm just going to point out that 3 is considered the number which symbolizes wisdom for several reasons. The most essential, or the most didactic one which I can think of is the Hegelian dialectic, which comes in 3 parts, which works together as a process: thesis, antithesis, synthesis. And that is the essence of wisdom, because it means that you start out from, the axiomatic position, your happenstance starting point position, just being where you are, and then comes another element into this. That is the second part, that is the antithesis. It causes a lot of problems, and perhaps this new element is someone else. Perhaps some other group of people are coming into your territory, and they have a different perspective on things. So you have friction and you have conflict, and conflict is also in numerology, in Kabbalah and all number systems that try to connect mere mathematics with ontology. And ontology is the science of being, of beingness, study of beingness. And, most people would balk at that because, are people studying beingness? Yes, they are. That's part of metaphysics. It's very interesting. More people should study it. More people should be interested in it. But they don't even know of it. So three, you have 1 and 2, and you have conflict. How do you resolve a conflict? You resolve it by creating a synthesis, simply. You resolve it by somehow, which is not usually a very simple thing. Actually, it requires wisdom to resolve those types of conflicts, which involve a thesis and an antithesis. They can only be solved by wisdom. So that is there are many methods that can be used. Alchemy has many methods, and chemistry also has many methods, which is why chemistry and alchemy are closely related. And mathematics has models of solving this. And you bring wisdom into this, and you get the synthesis. And the synthesis is not it is not a situation where one part wins out. That is a zero-sum game, which is what our current world and power politics and stuff like that is all based on, which has nothing to do with wisdom. You could have that, which to be a solution, but it's not that. You could have compromise. Okay, you give a little, you take a little, you give a little. So we get to a working solution, but no one is actually really happy because they had to compromise. They had to give away things that they felt were really important to them, but it's probably better to give away things that are really important to us than to kill each other or being at the risk of being killed. So the wisdom solution is to find a solution which makes both parties satisfied, fully satisfied. And that is what the synthesis does. In that it brings, it expands the frame of reference for both parties. They both become able to see the other person's perspective, not just their own. And when they see that, they see that, from their perspective, that their argument is valid. It's not just people being stupid, which we thought originally. And probably they can realize also that they thought that we were just being stupid, and now they realize that we have we have valid concerns, that we have our values, they are real, and in our context they make sense. So we make a new system which encompasses all the perspectives and values of the conflicting parties, and we make a new system which works for everyone, and which is much more robust and much bigger, and it has increased our intelligence, it has increased our ability to think and to take in things from real parts of reality which we have had before not been concerned with or ignored. So that is the Hegelian dialectic, which represents that number, the length of the horizontal line of this right-angled triangle, that had the length of 3. Unfortunately, with the Hegelian dialectic, many people in the so-called truth movement, or among American patriots and freedom movement and stuff like that, they have learned through many stupid people that the Hegelian dialectic, that is solution, reaction, and problem, reaction, solution. That is their idea of what the Hegelian dialectic, which is correct, but the way they understand it is that the powers that be, the elites, the Satanists that rule our societies, that is their method of ruling over us by adding problems and then coming up with their solutions, or adding problems, and then we have reactions to those problems which are completely artificial, that are created. And normal healthy people, they don't accept these things, and they react to it. So we now have a conflict, and then come someone with the solution, which is something that is really bad, and which was not something that would have come about naturally or organically at all, but which suits the power elites very well. It gives more power to them, and we have to relinquish our power, but we do it because it solves the really bad problem, which did not arise out of nothing. It was actually started by the people who came with the solution. So a lot of people, they don't understand Hegelian dialectic at all. They think that is a stratagem, that is a scheme employed by the nefarious elites to control us, which is not, that is a perversion of what the Hegelian dialectic actually is. The Hegelian dialectic is the archetype of wisdom, the number 3. Then there is the number 4. And you could also say the number 3, of course, is God, or the divine. No, the spiritual realm. All wisdom comes out of that, as long as it originates with God. And then there's number 4. And it means it's a number which represents the material realm, which is the world as a term in Christianity, which is a representative of, the realm of Satan or Lucifer, or the matter, the matrix. These words are the same actually, and they come also from mater, which means mother, and matter, the matrix, that is the world, and you could say that it has, in ontological terms, it has a position in relation to wisdom, or maybe this is wisdom, and this is matter. But of course, then this would have the length of this would have to be 4, and the length of this one would have to be 3. The number of matter in these number systems is 4, and 4 is also the number of I think harmony and beauty. I'm not sure. But what to finish what I'm trying to explain here, we are trying to unite the maybe I should. This is 3, and this is 4. How should I put this? No, I don't have any implements around here but okay, we have 3 and 4, and then we have to, of course, we want to add this one, the diagonal. That's the word. that's a word I was looking for earlier. We want to add the diagonal, the hypotenuse, and that's the number of that is 5. And curiously, that is the number attributed in many systems to the human being. So you have wisdom, and you have the world, or actually it should be the world and wisdom, because this is also the cross. That is what the Christian cross represents. I used to be the leader of the Norwegian Heathen Society back in the 1970s. And we like to scorn the Christians because they were so stupid, and they believed in superstition, and we used to bring out stories from the Old Testament, like the one where there was a group of children, and they made fun of a prophet, and then God brought out a bear, and it tore apart all the children. So that was one of the examples we used to tell in our meetings, in our street meetings, and to explain to people how stupid Christianity was. So I lost the thread, but maybe I'll regain it. But so we have the cross. Oh yes, the cross. That was another part we used to ridicule. The stupid Christians, they have the cross as their symbol. And what is a cross? It is It is a torture instrument. Yeah, that is what they are worshipping. A torture instrument. That is the symbol of their faith. Ha ha ha. Of course, we didn't realize at that time that there is a metaphysical explanation for the cross. Also, because it is where the material realm meets the spiritual realm, or where the world meets God. And of course you have a 90-degree angle here, and how do you how do you sort of reconcile two processes which are at a 90-degree angle with one another? It is very hard, because as far as they are lines, they only meet in a point. And that is not a lot of contact ground, and it doesn't make for a lot of possibilities of understanding or reconciling them at all. They are completely at odds with each other. There is only one connection point. But then comes man. And man is the being which is going to actually do that reconciling. Because being the diagonal line, he actually does make the connection between those two different realms, and he does it mathematically, in a mathematical system. And also he can do it when he realizes his capability. He can do it for the world. And that is our task. That is our religious task. And that is our mission. We have a mission. We have a meaning to our life. Not just to be happy, not just to be good to each other, but we are here on a mission. And as soon as we accept and exceed that mission, we can get onto the work which lies ahead of us. And it is a work that we have to all do together. We have to unite to do it, because we are doing it as representatives of humanity, as representatives of all living beings, as representatives of nature and of the world and cosmos, the universe, creation. So we have to make this organization, which is their religion, but it is also a working structure. It's a structure that is working at saving, literally, we are going to save it, not just individuals, not just give salvation to individuals, but we are going to do it in a solidarity, solidarious, what is that word? We're going to do it in solidarity fashion with everyone, and we are going to include everyone in the process. And that also means we are going to, care about everyone, and we are going to help everyone. And And even those who have very different understandings of everything from what we have, we now know the formula for resolving the conflict, at least theoretically. But we can start from the theory, and then we can build the practice, right? So we know that 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared, and we know that thesis and then antithesis, and then that can be resolved into synthesis. And yeah, that is the new religion, and you can be part of it. There is very little structure yet. There is me here, and I'm leading this effort. And if anyone comes along and has already seen all of these things and started it already and gotten much further along in this process, or has gotten things more right than I have, and is ready to be there as leading the process, I will gladly become part of that structure. So I'm not here to lead this because I have any ambition about leading anything, but I have an ambition of going through with what I have realized and what I can understand to be right. And I'll be here. I'll be doing this work, and I will connect to people who want to connect, and I will work with people who want to work with themselves, because obviously working with yourself is very important. It is part of it. You have to improve yourself. You have to realize yourself. You have to get into your mission, your purpose. Most people don't realize that their life has a potential purpose. Everyone's life has a potential purpose. In fact, everyone's life already has a purpose. They just haven't discovered it. They haven't realized it yet. But there's a purpose in everyone's life lying there waiting for them to realize it and then accede. And then get with the program, so to speak. Get part of this organization, this structure, and find their place in it, close to where I am, or at a distant, but still all connected and being part of it. And already, if you see that you can play a vital role, which you are perfectly suited for, or which you think you can hone yourself for, you are very welcome to get in contact with me, and we'll just start and move and get this whole thing rolling beyond what I can do. Currently, being only me, no one else has contacted me as of yet. I started explaining about this religion probably a month ago. I started making these videos on my channel in the beginning of May about this new religion, and also about a new system of self-administered, self-mediated body psychotherapy, which I think is going to be very useful for people who want to realize, actualize themselves and improve themselves and perfect themselves and get into their life mission from where they are currently. You can find those videos here on this channel also. Started making these two types of videos. So that's about a couple of months ago from where I'm now making this video. And also a few videos in between where I speak more about myself personally and my process into becoming what I now term being a holotropic homosexual, because that is what I think I am, and which also gives a completely new definition of what being a homosexual man is, which has been needed for a long time, because the role models for homosexual males in society and societies today really aren't worth very much. They are very much socially engineered, and they are going in very wrong directions. So I think I have also solved that bit, and you can listen to me explain about that also. Study about what is holotropic homosexuality. But this video was about the new religion, and now I think I have explained it in as much detail and taking into the explanation the essential elements that need to be explained in this first introduction to it in English. As I said, I started making these videos a couple of months ago, but most of them have been in Norwegian, which is my native language. So, and the reason I speak English so well the way I do is because I used to study at the university in California in the mid-early 1980s. So that is where my accent comes from. And that concludes, I suppose, this explanation of the new religion. I don't know if it actually needs a name. I haven't given it a name. I just call it, or refer to it as the new religion. Maybe someone will refer to it as the new religion with capitalized letters T, N, R, and I don't think of it as that way. I just think of it as the new religion to replace all of the existing ones. But, as I said, anyone who is already involved in a religion, you can remain there, and we'll take this gradually, and we will move more and more towards this common goal, which I have explained here. So that should be the end of this video, and I'll see you in one of my other videos, or even better, I will see you in some other way. Bye for now.